Hi everyone, welcome to Cut the Noise. Today we are going to discuss a very interesting topic and I think everyone is talking about it. So I have with me Nikhil Agarwal, who is founder and CEO of Grid. We'll be discussing today the potential of dollar being released as reserve currency. But first, let me start with a very basic question which I was not aware of. What do you mean by reserve currency?
Sure. I think it's an interesting concept. We all think and know about the US dollar, but we don't sometimes understand the important role it plays in international finance. Today, the trade between two countries, majority of times happens in the US dollar. So let's say India wants to trade with Sri Lanka. In all probability, that transaction is done in US dollars. Neither is it the currency of India, nor is the currency of Sri Lanka, but as a reserve currency, countries prefer or have preferred to trade in US dollars. That has severe consequences for every country and what it does for the US economy. India and Sri Lanka both need to maintain US dollar reserves because if they're trading, they need to trade in US dollars, which means that every country around the world is constantly demanding and storing US dollars in their reserves. As a result, the demand for the US dollars has kept increasing. The US dollar has remained a reserve currency for a very long period of time. It replaced the British pound to become the reserve currency, and that reflected the strength of the US economy and the role it played in international trade. Over the last few years, however, that has changed with the emergence of China, India, as also very strong economic powers in the world. A lot of people have attributed the dollar being the reserve currency to the power of the United States to constantly print more currency because there was always demand for it. And they could print more currency without having very high inflation because there was always demand for it, supply and demand, right? So this has been a very interesting trend that has happened over the last 20 years and one of the key tenets of the strength of the US economy. This is the purpose of a reserve currency for our delivers.
So is it safe to say that, decentralization of power or the right word I'm not sure of is happening in the larger world?
There's definitely a change, right? Unquestionably, China has emerged as a strong power. Russia continues to be a strong power. The EU as a bloc exerts some influence, and India has become a rising power. If you look 10 years ago or 15 years ago, that dynamic was not really in place. The US was by far the strongest power in the world. But whether it's militarily, by economy, by political power, this dynamic has changed, resulting in also an impact on what is considered a reserve currency and the role that the US dollar will play.
So while we are discussing this, what does this mean for India?
India is a big importer of oil. Right? We are dependent on imports for oil. And for all of those things, India pays in the dollar. Imagine a world in which India could change some of those payments into rupee payments. And countries would then trade back rupees with India. This would reduce India's demand for the dollar and actually make the Indian rupee potentially stronger against the dollar. It may hence have impacts on how we import, how we export, the relative position of the Indian economy, and the relative strength of our own currency. So this is the potential near-term implication that we have. I think there have been some talks about India, about the opportunity for India to become a reserve currency. Would love to personally see it happen, but I think a lot has to be done from an Indian economy strength perspective and our own global positioning for that to happen. Right? I think a near-term opportunity is for more trade to be done in Indian rupees, resulting in a stronger rupee.
That's very interesting to know. While we've discussed the macroeconomic view or impact on India, but how would this impact to our investors?
The strengthening of the Indian economy, as a result, the strengthening of the Indian rupee is definitely something that overall benefits investment opportunities in India. I think investors should continue to be excited about the sentiment that India has as an economic powerhouse and the fact that a lot of international capital is seeking investment opportunities in India. This development may not have any immediate consequence to the company.
But definitely an exciting time to be in India and being an investor in India.
It's India's decade, and as Mr. Modi called it, it's India's decade because a lot of the future of India in the next year, in the next decade, would be around tech companies. So it's definitely an interesting time to be an Indian, to be an investor in India, and to be working in between a tech startup.
Thank you so much, Nikhil, for your time. That's all for this episode. See you next time.